going from a ballerina to a secret agent. A girl is taught the art of espionage, but they didn't plan to create a monster. Let's look at how it all started. The two main characters of the film are Dominika and Nate, who live in Russia. While Dominika Egorova is listening to music, Nate Nash is impatiently waiting for a phone call. The phone rings, and they start writing the letters of an encoded recording. Nate decodes the code and grabs his weapon for an APA meeting in a park. Back to Dominika. You should know that she lives with her sick mother, whom she takes care of. Also, she is a lead ballerina in the Bolshoi Company for Russia. The company takes care of her and her mother, Nina, after putting on her makeup and getting ready. She heads to the stage and in the process meets her uncle, Ivan Igor, of the Deputy Director of the Foreign Intelligence Service. Dominika's performance is flawless and graceful, but no one expected that the end of the dance partner accidentally break her leg. Things aren't going great for Nate either. After passing something to the person he met with, the police had stopped them, but Nate shot to get their attention and act as bait. After a long run, Nate is eventually caught and surrenders, saying he is an American. Nate is a CIA agent, and after the episode in the park, he is forced to escape to the States. Meanwhile, Dominika is in the surgery room. She will be fine, but won't be able to dance like she used to, since she will no longer be able to dance. The company will no longer take care of her and her mother. And this is where Ivan enters the scene with a proposal that will change Dominika's life. First, Ivan brings her a phone with a recording of the dancer who broke her leg. Dominika learns that everything was planned to give way to a new ballerina. The girl, in a rage, goes to the theater. She finds those who broke her leg making love and slaughters them with her walking stick with her mother, sick and without a job. Dominika goes to Ivan for help. Ivan knew she would come to him and offered her permission. She is tasked with seducing Dmitry Ustinov, a Russian gangster, in exchange for her mother's continued medical care. Ivan assures her that nothing will happen to her. She trusts him completely. After learning all the instructions, Dominika sits down at the bar, and shortly thereafter the target approaches as well. After a brief conversation, the two enter the room. Dmitry orders her to undress. He throws her on the bed and starts raping her. During this act, the gangster is killed by a Sergei Hatred and SVR agent authorized by Ivan. The agent takes Dominika to a hidden location. The girl is terrified, but in the meantime, Ivan and one of his superiors analyze the situation. Ivan thinks that she has the potential to become an agent since she managed to persuade Dmitry to send away his bodyguards. On the other hand, his superior thinks that Dominika should be killed since she is now a witness. Since Dominika witnessed the scene, Ivan offers her a choice: become an SVR agent or be executed to prevent her from telling anyone about what happened. Dominika is sent to state school for a brutal training school specializing in Sparrows, a branch of the SVR. It turns young men and women into deadly seductive killers through sex engaged during a class. Dominika and another student, Victor, are called in front of everyone to undress. Victor obeys the orders, but Dominika refuses back to Nate. He has already arrived in the States. Remember, the meeting with the guy in the park has created a diversion to ensure that the mole in the Russian ranks with the codename Marble escaped unidentified Nazis reassigned to the United States for creating an unpleasant situation, but insist he is the only person Marble will work with since he can return to Russia. He is assigned to Budapest to re-establish contact with Malmo. Dominika excels in her training. However, the process is hard and humiliating. Added to this is some minor discomfort with the Matrix. The students read Sparrows are taught that every person is a puzzle with a missing piece. Their task is to identify that missing piece and become one. Dominika will implement this during a party where soldiers have returned to Russia. She notices a shy boy and brings him into the room. Dominika realizes that the boy wishes he was home with his wife, so touching him helps him to visualize his desire. This scene is recorded by a video camera and is studied by other students. Later, while Dominika was showering, Victor approached and began to rape her. As with the dancers, but in a different bathroom, Dominika beat the shit out of him. Meanwhile, The SVR deduces that Nate is in Budapest to re-establish contact with Malmo, and they plan to send Dominika to seduce him and get information. She has to find out the real name of Malmo. Ivan calls her to a restaurant, and the girl accepts the assignment without much question. Ivan recognizes her potential and thinks they are similar. Despite all these nice words, Dominika was disgusted with Ivan for sending her to a school where they use sex as an instrument of espionage. In Budapest, Dominika lives with another Sparrow named Marta and is supervised by an SVR station chief, Maxim. Voluntarily, Marta reveals to her that Maxim tends to progress at the expense of someone else's success. Dominika meets Maxim and learns that Nate, the agency is to seduce, is an alcoholic, likes to swim, and watches porn. The girl spies on him for a few days and learns that he likes blondes, so she changed her hair color. The next day, Dominika joined the gym pool, but there is a small detail. Instead of using the fake name, she registered under her real name. Dominika manages to get Need's attention and make them curious. In fact, a little later, Nate spoke to her and invited her to lunch, but she played hard to get. The next day, Dominika learns that the membership with her data has disappeared. In fact, Nate is the one who stole it to find out information about her. Nate deduces that she works for SVR, but he was getting right where she wanted him. A few days later, Nate and Dominika meet. She tells them that she works with SVR to help her mother. They agree to meet at a restaurant to get to know each other better. Dominika inspects Marta's room and realizes that Marta has been assigned to acquire confidential information from Stephanie Bucci, the chief of staff to a U.S. senator. Marta arrives home and reveals to her that her boss sent a report discussing Dominika's failures with the mission. Dominika follows him to a nightclub and provokes Evan. He attacks her, and then the girl threatens him to inform the SVR about the happening. Dominika was supposed to be night at the restaurant that night, but didn't show up. Later, while Nate is home, he receives another coded code. Dominika shows up in front of its house, staging a little cry. Nate doesn't know how she found his address, but she starts kissing him. Nate takes the situation under control and tells her to go home. The next day, Ivan paid a visit to Dominika. Ivan presses Dominika about her slow progress with Nash. Dominika says she is also helping Marta with Bucci. She also informs him that the mission will require $250,000. Ivan is surprised by such a large sum, but accepts. As he leaves, he forgets his coat, and Dominika brings it to him. After peeking in his passport the next morning, Dominika goes to Vienna to open an account to deposit money for her mother, in case he will never meet her again when she returns home. Dominika finds horror. Marta is brutally murdered by the SVR because Dominika told her about the gangster that was killed in the hotel. Nate talks to his superiors about Dominika, suggests they try to convince her to come over to their side. Dominika is once again in a vulnerable position, and this is when they can. Sulzer. He assures her that there is no way out. She continues to work with SVR. They will keep her alive as long as she is useful. Then they will get rid of her. Dominika agrees to become a double agent in exchange for protection for her and her mother. In the meantime, she continues to act as usual and writes missing reports. Dominika, under a lie detector test, tells Nate's superiors about Marta's mission with an American chief of staff, Stephanie Bucci, who is supplying Russia with information under Russian orders. Dominika travels to London with her boss to meet with Bucci and complete the exchange, who she sells the information for $250,000. But Dominika secretly exchanges the information given by Bucci for disinformation provided by the CIA as she leaves the hotel. Bucci realizes she is being watched by U.S. intelligence agents. She panics and in traffic is hit by a pickup truck and killed. The Russian agents observing Bucci realize that their mission has been compromised, suspected of informing the Americans. Dominican volunteers are immediately recalled to Moscow. Nate realizes that Dominika will be in trouble, but it is too late to stop her at the airport. Volunteer Ivan and Dominika are tortured and interrogated for days. First, she is tied to a chair and doused with ice water. Then she is hit repeatedly. She is asked if she is the one who jeopardized the mission, but Dominika denied it every time a volunteer was executed. But Ivan eventually believes Dominika's claims of innocence, and she is allowed to return to Budapest to continue her original mission of extracting the identity of the mole from that. Despite this, Ivan's superiors don't agree at all. In fact, they suspect Dominika is on the CIA's side. Ivan then decides to send Matter in to watch her. Dominika meets Nate in Budapest and convinces him to transfer her and her mother to America. After spending the night with Nate, Dominika wakes up to find him tortured by Matter. The agent keeps asking him for the name of the mole. She initially plays along with Madeline by helping him with Nash's torture. But the moment Matter lets his guard down, she strikes every Matter and manages is severely cut Nate and Dominika, but is then lethally killed by the latter. She wakes up in a hospital with General Vladimir Korchnoi. A high-ranking official working with Ivan reveals himself as the mole. He explains that he was initially patriotic, but has become disillusioned with Russia's corruption. He fears that he will soon be caught, and rather than die in vain, he orders Dominika to reveal the general's true identity to Ivan. Doing so would make her a national hero and allow her to replace him as a mole by passing critical information to the CIA. Later, Dominika buys a phone and calls her mother, but she can't get a word in edgewise. Dominika is arrested and asked to contact her superiors at the Russian embassy. She reveals that she has found the name of the mole, but she will reveal it only if she is given a chance to return to Russia. In the evening, the general returned home and left the door open, waiting for death with a cigar in his hand, arriving at the place of the exchange. There is, on the one hand, Nash, visibly disappointed by the betrayal suffered by the woman, and, on the other hand, the mole declared by Dominika. In reality, she provides the name of her uncle Ivan, using the evidence she had built since she arrived in Budapest at the moment of the exchange. Ivan is fascinated and disappointed at the same time. Moments later, he is killed and Dominika is returned to Russia. She is honored in a Russian military ceremony in the presence of Korchnoi back in Russia. Dominika lives with her mother and receives a phone call from an unknown person playing Greg's piano concerto, which she had previously told him. That was the piece he danced to in her first solo performance. This would mean that her romance with Nate is not over yet. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.